Well, good Wednesday afternoon, everybody. It's Eric over at American Business Systems. Just so grateful that you're here this afternoon. You're in for a treat you're going to find out. It's kind of like you're going to get a two for one this afternoon on some things here, and you'll find out why here in just a second. So, for those that have joined us, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Hopefully, that everybody had a good Thanksgiving week a couple of weeks ago. Gosh, you can't believe how quickly time is going. We'll be in the end of the year holidays and New Year starting in a few weeks. So, folks, buckle up, folks, because this year is going to be over before we know it. But you're here today. We're going to be talking with Jeff Brunner here in just a moment. I appreciate everybody joining us here on this Wednesday. Got a good crowd so far. Hillary, it's good to see you, and Saddam, and looks like we got Justin and Renal and Whitney, and got some other folks here. Got one calling in. So in just a second, I'm going to ask you if you don't mind to type in where you're calling in from. You can just go to the Q&A box. I'll show you where that is here in just a second. But let me introduce myself. My name is Eric Oj. I'm the Director of Learning and Engagement here for you. I'm always here on the kind of the front end and help you and fill in some gaps. I know you've been talking directly with your sales rep here at American Business Systems, and so thank you for allowing me to be part of your process. And like I said, they kind of give the lines, and I get to kind of sometimes color within those lines, and sometimes outside those lines. Here, who knows what we'll kind of get into this afternoon, but. Appreciate you joining me. Now, here's where you can find the Q&A box. If you'll go find the Q&A section there, just for my sake and for the sake of others, it kind of helps us to know that we're being heard all right. So if you'll just tell me what city and state that you're calling in from, that'll be fine. You don't have to put your name or anything. Stom is from Sacramento, California. Appreciate it. One of the first ones out there. So appreciate you typing that in there. Let's see if we got any other people out there. Maybe Whitney calling in from Pasadena, California. We've got Justin from Asheville, North Carolina. So we are considered coast to coast. Hillary's from Dublin, California. Got a lot of folks from California. So good for you, everybody. There's some other people that are on here. I'd like to do part of my process here, also obviously introducing our CEO of American Business Systems. And I'm doing a kind of a dual role here with him on this one, because not only is he our CEO, he is also a contributing writer for a billing magazine called Billing and Coding Advantage Magazine. And it comes out twice. I think it's every other month that it comes out, and he's written several articles. But this is his showcase picture on the BC Advantage magazine out there. He's got several articles that he's published out there. One of the latest ones that came out here, and I can't believe it's already been in July that he wrote it, but it felt like just yesterday that it got posted there. But it kind of does there, since it kind of comes out bi-monthly. But it's the shrinking private practice and why billing expertise can be a lifeline. And that's for the physicians themselves, because as you'll hear a little bit from Jeff today when we get started here, he's going to kind of share with you some of the experiences he's had with some of the physicians he's doing some work with. And so you'll get to understand why being in this field and the growth of this field is a great opportunity for you to be in. Now, if you'd like to get a PDF of this article, reach out to your sales rep and tell them that I suggest that you get Adam's article from BC Advantage Magazine on the shrinking private practice, why billing expertise can be a lifeline. So if you want to, you can take a screenshot of this real quickly if you like. I'll leave this up there for a second, because trying to figure out how to get you there with that URL might be a little difficult, but at least you can get that. Now, he actually wrote another article, and I'll share a little bit about that with you. I think I've got that right here. There we go. Let me get to that one. So he wrote another article called Will Advancement in AI Take Over My Job as a Medical Biller or Coder? Well, the great news of it's actually helping A lot of our business owners, maybe Jeff can tap into that a little bit as he'll share some things, about some success that he's had. But that's another article you might want to reach out to. And then not only has he done that, he's written some other books. And one of the books that he's written that it was co-authored by Dr. Vicki Rackner is 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. And there's an opportunity for you to get a copy of that too. So if you'd like to request a PDF of this, again, get back with your sales rep. I'll kind of repeat all that here towards the end, but we'd like to get you a copy of that. Adam is also the founder of an organization called MIRMA. MIRMA is the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. Let me see if I can get that pulled up there. There we go. And they are, this is the group. Let me see if there we go. I'm trying to get there to it. There we go. MIRMA is the organization that is called the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. The people that are on the board of directors is people like Dr. Vicki Rackner, who was just that co-authored the book with Adam there. But it is this organization here that will certify you as a certified medical revenue manager. So this is very important because it allow you to carry the MIRMA logo on all of your marketing material, including your business card and your website and all the other parts where you can put that on there. We'll share a little bit about that with you as we kind of go through the presentation. But without any further ado, we've already got burned up about 7 minutes here, so I want to get started here with quickly as possible with Jeff. So Jeff, thank you for joining us here this afternoon.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's been a while since you and I have done an interview.
Yes, yeah, it's been a little while. I'm still plugging away. Just for background information, everyone, I'm based up here in Michigan. I'm a licensee, and I run my business based out of northern Michigan. So as I look out the window, we have about 1.5 feet of snow on the ground, and more coming tonight. So
goodness!
Hope you're in a warmer spot than I am.
Oh, we are. It's actually kind of nice here. I'm over in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and just stepped out of the truck, and it was 66 degrees and sunny and blue skies. So it's
nice.
It's perfect weather here. Now, it wasn't like that a couple of days ago. It was nasty and cold and wet. So, but I appreciate you sharing that. Now, I want to remind everybody that if you've got questions, you know where the Q&A box is. You're going to have some questions for Jeff as we go through the presentation today. I'm kind of clearing out the Q&A box there, so it's all empty now. But Jeff, let me go back in history a little bit. You might remember this picture right here of you and Patrick Phillips. And this was whenever we used to have training at a hotel. We used to meet there and bring everybody in. So what year was that you went through training?
That's Grapevine, Texas in 2017.
2017.
My hair was just as gray, it looks like there. But yeah, no, that's exactly what used to be the case for training, is that we would all go down, and I say I experienced it one time, but it was a room full of people, various backgrounds, and we sat and learned about ABS and the different products and services and billing in general, and that's with Patrick there, who founded ABS.
Yes, Patrick founded ABS well over 30 years ago, he and his wife Linda, and it's turned into what it's become now. Adam has taken over the helm of being the CEO, but yeah, Patrick was an incredible man, and he's certainly helped a lot of people get started in their own business.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adam's doing a great job, not a good job, a great job of
no
continuing on what Patrick started. So, yes.
So obviously everybody's going to be asking, I'm going to preempt everybody's question. They're probably going to ask you. So after, if you want to talk a little bit about training, what you learned there, and let's kind of let's rehearse your background. So, people might start asking the question, did you have a background in healthcare? Let's kind of start there. Or did you know billing prior to getting started with American Business Systems?
Mm-hmm. So I did not know billing at all. I had zero experience in billing. However, I was in pharmaceutical sales for almost 30 years. So I admittedly did have a good good background in healthcare and healthcare terminology. Again, nothing to do with billing at all, but I was comfortable talking with doctors and uh, marketing, if you will, to doctors. It's fun to talk to smart people all day, which is what I did for my job, and I still do that
Sure.
in this business here. But that was my background. The billing part, I again came in with zero experience, and I was quite honestly that was I was most concerned with learning that especially with the support team that ABS has. That ended up being the best part of the whole business there. I came in with no experience. I leaned on them really heavily at the very beginning. They always, pointed me in the right direction, essentially told me what to do next and what to do next and what to do next. And I did it and it worked.
Sure.
It worked. So
Yeah. So obviously, some people might think, well, man, he came in as a pharmaceutical rep. You probably already had doctors lined up to get started. So how soon after you got started did you? And we can talk about how you did your marketing, but how soon after you got started through with training did you end up? I mean, did you know doctors that you were bringing on board already, or did you have to go through what everybody else goes through in their marketing?
yeah. So I knew a lot of doctors. Interestingly, out of the, I don't know, 16 clients that I had at a certain point, I've got less now because I can talk about that as well. But of the 16 I had, I only knew one of them when I was in pharmaceutical
Wow.
sales. Everyone else is brand new to, to my experience, if you will. Um, it helps. I mean, if you, for folks out there, I don't know how many people are out there who know doctors, but it helps, no doubt about it. If nothing else, to talk to them about your new business. But if they're not interested or if they don't need a new billing company of any kind, they have also sorts of friends who they might be able to refer you to, so people that they know, and to kind of interact and network with them, and it's a good way to get business there. But to
Sure.
your original question, Eric, um, I one client was overlapping, and I still have that client today. As a matter of fact.
Okay. So how soon after you got through with training did you get your first client there?
Finished training at the end of May in 2017, and we in the second week of August, right at the end of that. Or, I'm sorry, the first week of August. So it was about 8 or 9 weeks or so was when I had my first
Wow.
client.
Wow.
My second client came about a month after that, and then my third client was maybe 3 months after that. So um, I would say probably 6 months after training, I had three clients, and the problem with clients is that all of a sudden you got to go to work. You
Right.
can't just focus on the marketing part of it, which is what my expertise was in. Um, but it works out fine once you get the hang of the billing part and that, then it's not difficult. It's just you have to learn it. So
Sure, sure. I'm going to remind everybody that if you want to ask Jeff any questions, you can go ahead and put those in the Q&A box and I'll ask those questions for you. But I think I've done enough of these interviews where I already kind of anticipate what people are going to be asking. So whenever you got your first client, then you got your second client. Now, did those clients come because of referrals, or were you marketing for those folks and then those came in organically that way?
yeah. So in all three cases, the three clients, the three first clients that we signed, one of them, by the way, two of the three I still have. The very
Wow.
first, yeah, the very first, that was 8 years ago. And by the way, just a quick word on that. If you do a good job for offices, which ABS teaches you how to do a good job, if you do a good job for offices, they will stick with you. The two clients that I have right now, that were my second and third clients, I'll have them for as long as they're in business there. They really like what we do. We pay attention. We care for their practices. You do that, and you start to get referrals, and I'll tell you about that in just a bit. But my first client, by the way, just so everyone knows, ended up moving to a hospital-based system, and so away from private practice into a hospital-based system, and I don't have that office any longer. Um,
Got it.
but um, but yeah. So it was I focused quite quite heavily on marketing my business. I had time to do that, um, and I focused on marketing. Once you get as I said, once you get those first few clients, you do a good job for them. They have got all kinds of friends in the same business, and
Yeah.
every every single client since then is by way of referral. So
Okay.
so yeah, that's how it
Uh,
worked for me.
Okay, I think we stirred them up and we got some questions coming in. So I'm going to bring out Justin. Justin brought out the first question. He says, Jeff, I'm curious how many conversations you had with your first client before you were able to actually sign them up. Now, he's got a second question there. So let's deal
Mhm.
with this first one first. So he's asking, how many conversations do you think you had with your first client before they actually signed with you?
Yeah, that's a great question because it's in what I discovered pretty early on is that you cannot slam dunk an office, and I was to use a sports term there.
Yeah.
It's really really rare. I mean, it's happened. It's happened. I mean, where you go in one day, you get a client by the end of the week, that type of thing. But to your question, Justin, it was several conversations, several meetings, maybe if I had to put a number on it, it might have been 3 or 4 meetings before I signed them as a client, and the idea, kind of the back and forth, is that they want to make sure that they can trust you as a a business, or bringing someone in that really really has let me say it differently. My job, and I feel real strongly about this, is to focus 100% on my clients' finances. I want I want that to not even be an afterthought for them. I want them to know that they're getting paid what they should be. That again, that I care about their business. I care about the people who work for that office, Eric, because I'm doing the work that's going to get the money into the practice that in turn will sustain many families. Really, um, I don't want to over dramatize that, but it's important to that they do business with people that they like, and it can take a few conversations. I mean, they want to be comfortable with you as a business owner. Um, so that's I would say that's pretty consistent across the clients that I have. Several
Yeah.
several contacts and several you know back and forth meetings and that type
And
of
I
thing.
And I think his second question, you've kind of helped answer a little bit there, but I'm going to ask it anyway. He says, also, did you have to meet with them in person or did you lock them up virtually?
Um, the first three I met in person, and because they're fairly local here. Um, that's been without a doubt an evolution of this industry or business, if you will, is and COVID obviously contributed to that, is the
Yeah.
use of Zoom meetings and Ring Central meetings and virtual meetings, to your point, Justin. Um, Now, I would say, um, by far, it's not even close. By far, most of my meetings are virtual meetings. If I need to talk with someone, I've kind of branched out. I've got clients in California and downstate and places that just aren't feasible for me to go visit them in person. So meetings work fine, Zoom meetings and the like. Yep.
And yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to say, hey, how many clients are within your geographical area versus outside of your state?
Um, right now, I would say about 25% are local, 75% are out of what I would call this area, the geographic area here.
So it's a good thing you don't have any territories you have to stay within.
No, my territory and everyone's territory, I guess, is the United States and Puerto Rico. By the way, we can sign people in Puerto Rico, but yes, yeah, you can really if you have friends or contacts or networking partners in different states, you can certainly work with people anywhere in the U.S.
There you go. Now, Saddam's asking a question here, and I'm going to put this up here real quickly. It's about training. So his question is training actually 6 month or is it just, or does it just take, or did it took you 6 months to complete? I think a while ago there was a little bit of blip in your, I don't know if it was your internet or my internet, but it kind of went out a little bit. So I think he's just bringing clarification. How long? Let's deal with that. How long is the ABS training?
Mhm. Yeah, it's definitely not 6 months. It is. Golly, that's a great question. I don't know exactly how long it is. I know it can be scheduled and drawn out, but it seems to me it's about 3 weeks right now.
Yeah.
I believe it can be consolidated a bit. When we went, again, back in the day, here's I talk like an old
Back in
time.
the day. I
Yeah.
remember those days.
Yeah. Old timey guy here for you're talking to me. That we went down to Texas. We were there for a full week, whatever it was, 8 to 5,
Yes.
8 to 6, something like that, 5 days or 4 days, 4.5 days type of thing. Um, so whatever the hours are, now it's much more efficient. But it's about 3 weeks, I believe.
And that's a virtual training. It's kind of going hand in hand with what Justin was asking. Can you do some of your business virtually? And I would say yes. And
100%. Yep.
and then but it is meeting frequently with them, whether you're doing a via Zoom meeting or Zoom webinar or anything like that. Keeping communication is primary, and that's why that we look at it here too. Your training here, Saddam, is going to be 2 to 3 weeks. That's about right. There's 10 modules that you'd go through. And if you go back and look at some of the previous webinars that I've done, I did a full kind of a forensic dive into what training you get. I think it was last Wednesday that we did that. So if you get a chance, you can go back and watch that. He adds one more question here. And do you have to be a certified biller to run a billing company?
No, no, you do not. Now, when you finish training, you are a certified or CMRM, Certified Medical Revenue Manager. Um, so you will have that designation that you can put on your business card or your website or what have you. But you do not need to be a certified biller or coder. A lot of times you see a CPC designation as a certified professional coder, I believe. No, you don't have to. I don't have any degree like that. I've got a CMRM degree. I do have a master's in finance and, of course, a bachelor's degree, but you don't have to have a special designation.
Right. Yeah, because we've helped people from all over the place and all over different backgrounds and facilities. So yeah.
Mhm.
All right. No, there's no more participant questions or audience questions. Again, if now's a good time, I see that Ann's there and Anthony and Diana. So Hassan, if y'all got any particular questions you'd like to ask Jeff. So obviously, again, training is so much different than what you've gone through. And like I said, trainings now, there's 10 modules that you have and that you go through. And so it's pretty cool. Now, I was reading, you had you got like basically kind of like a white paper that if people want to download, I think they can get that down from our website there at absystems.com. But I think what I recall is that from your little spiel there is that not only were you able to get your first client within 2 to 3 months post training, you got your full return on investment within the first year. Am I correct on that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's true. We back then, whatever the joining fee is not much different than what it is today. I'm not even sure what it is today, but that we had money in the bank and we're going to be able to pay the licensing fee no matter what. But I happen to have on my desk one of these Bank of America, no percentage, credit card check if you pay it off within a year or something like that. And it was for a substantial amount. So I thought, what, I'm going to do that. So I signed over the check, sent it in. And again, the worst thing that would happen is that we'd have to reach into our bank account and pay that off. Well, we were able to pay that off in 6 months. A little bit before
Wow.
6 months with the revenue that from those first 3 clients there. And then it kind of snowballed from there. So yeah. There's it's a great business. I back just by way of background a little bit when I was exiting pharma and looking for other opportunities. We had a chance to take an early buyout, so I did that. I raised my hand. I said, "Yeah, I'll do that." They gave me a nice severance and all that. But all of a sudden, I was stuck with the entire world in front of me. What do I do now? So,
Now what do you do?
but that's okay. It was a great situation because I knew that I did not want to work for a major company again. And I always wanted to have a real business. I've had several businesses, three or four throughout my lifetime. Um, but we researched, my wife and I researched several franchises, in particular. ABS, I don't consider a franchise at all because you don't pay any extra money. I mean, once you sign up and have the licensing fee, that's it. I can tell anyone I've not paid an extra dime to ABS for anything beyond that licensing fee. So what I did want though is I wanted something I could work from home if I wanted to or anywhere.
Sure.
I did not want a brick and mortar place that I had to go to every day to open a door. I mean, nothing wrong with that. I just it wasn't me. I wanted something a little bit more flexible,
Sure.
and um and I settled on ABS. It's worked out really really well, really
Good.
well. To your again original question, we paid off the investment in about 6 months, and haven't looked back. So
Yeah.
great.
Saddam is asking, Kevin's asking, they're asking me, what is the cost or the investment of this? Now, folks, before I give you the cost, it's just let me make sure that you understand this is not just you're not just buying a training course or you're not going to a course where you just get a degree or a certification, but you're buying a business. This is a business opportunity, much like a franchise. And like Jeff said, there are no franchise fees, there's no royalty fees. So what you're getting from us is all the different aspects of the business, the billing platforms, the support that you're going to need, and I'm going to expound on the support here in just a minute. But currently, right now, the investment is $30,000. It's a one-time fee. There are no franchise fees. There's no royalty fees that we ever collect from there on. So whenever Jeff, you might want to kind of get into this. So when you're
Mhm.
doing your billing for your clients, if you're charging 6%, 7%, there's no percentages of that that's coming back to ABS, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. It's whatever your rate is what you get from your clients. Sir.
Yeah, so that's how you're making your living, and that's how you're paying. Basically you paid yourself back your ROI, and you
Hmm.
you did that because you didn't have to have franchise fees or royalty fees, and you were able to do that much quicker.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
yeah. Dinah's asking, do you still do billing, or have you hired employees?
I still do billing. I've always been in touch with that part of it for since we've opened the business. Really, we let's see. How do we have had employees also? Right now, I don't have employees, and the reason you can do the math. I mean, I mentioned I was in pharma for 30 years. Had this business for 8 years. You see all my gray hair here. You can kind of do the math and know that I'm closer to retirement than I am to starting a business here.
Sure.
And for that reason, just full disclosure, I've had two clients retire. They're going to retire at the end of this year, and that's totally fine. I mean, I'm not. If I want to add clients, I can start to market my business. That's totally fine. I'm not actively doing that right now. I am actively working my business every day in that I do billing for my current clients, client relations. I do some other things as well. Uh, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah. And she goes, if hired, how did you know when you were ready to hire? Did you
Mhm.
hire anybody?
Um, yes, we did. As a matter of fact, we ended up last or 2 years ago. We had what I would call 1.5 employees, and so the way I look at it, again, I'm real familiar with how many people it takes to do, or how many offices or providers one person can do. Really familiar with that. It of course depends on their volume, but I would say one person can with a normal volume can probably do six, maybe five, six, seven providers. Again, all depends on the volume of the practice. Once you get above that, it becomes just way too busy. And
Yeah.
that's where we were there for several years. So we had employees for for several years, and it was a several 3 or 4 years, something like that. So yeah, it just depends. I mean, I would say that range one person can do, in that range 5 to 7, you know, average offices there, and then
And when you
beyond
say
that,
average offices, you're talking about the amount of patients a doctor sees in a day.
yes, yes. So for example, let's say a family physician or family practice office might see, let's pick a number that's accurate. They might see 20 to 25 patients in a day.
Okay.
Um, and, extrapolate that over 4.5 days a week, maybe. So let's say they see 90 claims in a week, you know, uh,
Mhm.
360, 350, 360 in a month. The claims aren't the hard part. It's any type of follow up you have to do if you have to get on the phone
Sure.
with a payer, for example. So yeah. I mean that's about right. I'm just going to stick to my guns there.
Yeah.
5 to 7 in that
Yeah. Yeah.
type
There
of
you go.
volume there. Now, if you have lower volume of a practice or a smaller practice, obviously you could do more if you have a King Kong provider who's seeing all sorts of patients and
Sure.
type of thing, then you might need to hire someone. But there's lots of options for hiring.
Yeah.
Everyone may have caught that I hired my daughter and my sister-in-law. The reason I did is that I knew I could trust them,
Yeah.
and quite frankly, it's easy to hire people. There's a lot of people who would love the opportunity to have a evening side gig or a daytime side gig type thing. Let's say I don't want to, so let's say you have a father at home watching kids. When the baby's asleep, he may want to do some, just take a break and do some billing. I mean, you can do that.
Yeah.
You can find people who do it that way. Lately, what I'm seeing is a lot of people outsourcing their billing when they get to a certain point.
Mhm.
There's opportunities to outsource that, whether it's within the ABS sphere or overseas. Outsourcing billing to other countries where the cost, FTE cost or full time equivalent cost of a person is much less. So there's lots of ways to run the business there.
Yeah.
Lots of ways to build a business, but lots of ways to run it as well.
She's got a couple other questions. I'm going to reserve some of those for the end,
Mhm.
but now I'm going to skip to Justin. Justin says, "Hey Jeff, can you touch on the value proposition you were presenting to clients in the beginning?" And I'm sure it's the same today, but as a new biller slash agent with little to no experience, how were you able to sell the doctors in deciding to partner with your company?
Mhm.
So,
So, well, I'm sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
So it all depends, Justin, on the situation of the office or the provider's office there. What I mean by that is that some offices, as an example, would have an in-house billing department. That department, so to speak, might be one person who, you know, is hoping to retire or
Mhm.
maybe is not quite doing what he or she needs to do to keep everything running optimally, or someone who, God forbid, has a surgery and gets sick
Yeah.
or something, and they're gone for 6 months and have to recover. That's a real problem for an office
Yeah.
if the
Yeah.
person in charge of billing has to do that. I mean, that's their livelihood, as I spoke to earlier. So that would be one approach, if you will. Another approach would be if they're outsourcing their billing and the office is not happy with that. I'll give you an idea. Let's take those first three clients that I had. The very first client I signed, I actually went and visited them in something called direct content marketing, which is a fancy name for just going into offices, dropping off information, saying nice things about your company, and leaving. Don't make a big show of it. Just that quick. And about the third time I went in, the next day I got a phone call from that office, and they said, "Hey Jeff, I noticed that you stopped in and dropped off some information. As a matter of fact, we are having a problem with our billing company. Can you come and talk to us?" So
Mm.
so that very shortly after, I was in front of them talking to them, doing a practice analysis, which ABS teaches you to do. As it turns out, this billing company was just impossible to reach. They just were not responding. So I'm in that case, to your question, Justin, the reason I'm the choice at that point is that I'm local, I'm responsive, I'm part of the nation's largest network of medical revenue managers. I give my clients my cell phone number. Now, you don't want to go too wild with that, but I say, hey, listen, if you have any problems, you give me a call, and they love the idea of being able to call the owner of the company,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that secured that one. Second one, I'll zip through these other two here, but the second one, their biller was retiring, so they were in immediate need of a new biller. So I stepped into that role right there. And the third one was the same as the first. They were having problems with their billing company, could never get a hold of them, et cetera, et cetera. So I used the same as I used. I mean, I just made them aware that I'm local, responsive, etc. And but back to your original question, Justin, to wrap this up, the official answer would be it all depends. And it just depends on how do you market to a practice? It all depends. It just depends on the situation that you come in contact with. ABS, I mentioned support, and ABS. I was real comfortable talking to doctors. I was 100% uncomfortable talking about billing. But so I would lean on the support department big time. They would kind of shepherd me through the whole process, tell me what to do next, tell me, now I've got this practice analysis. Now what do I do? They say, okay, you want to put together a proposal. They help me with that proposal. I went and delivered that proposal. Now what do I do? And they, oh, well, okay, you get together a service agreement. You have, take it down and have them sign it. So all the steps are there. The ABS is not going to do the work for you. They're not going to do the work for you because it's your business. But the steps are there to make you successful, and there's nothing more than what they would want. They don't want anything more than to see their licensees successful. It's really, really fun to see that. So
and I think there are, because I remember the days that I'm kind of reached back. It's been over about 17 years since I've been with American Business Systems myself, and I remember looking into this and thinking the way that a lot of people probably think about today that are on the webinar, and that is, gosh, how can I talk to doctors about medical billing when I really don't know much about medical billing? I think what you just heard from Jeff here is it kind of goes back to what he said earlier. People will do business with people who they come to trust. And in the world of business, trust is paramount. And the way you build that trust is that you just become a real person. And like he said, he's there, he's responsive, he gives them their cell number, and it's making that connection with that person. Now, you may not know a hill of beans about medical billing in the background. That's why ABS is here. We will help step you through every aspect of your journey to where you become very comfortable with it. And support's here, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about support here in just a minute. But hopefully, Justin, that kind of helped answer your question. Kevin's got one question, then I'm going to kind of take a little detour here. But Kevin's asking, are you allowed to have your partner attend the training on one investment? And the answer is yes to that. Yeah. So if you want to work with your sales rep, there may be some deals that are going on to where you get a 2-for-1 going on. I'm not sure, but there's always something there. So just talk with your sales rep, but you can, maybe a little extra for that but it's not the full $30,000 investment. It's just a little bit to kind of help cover some of the training costs there. So Kevin, you can do that. All right. I said I'm going to do a little bit of shift here, and let me see if I can find a good slide to do that with. I'm gonna pop this one up here, Jeff, because you've talked heavily about support. Now, I'm gonna break out a little secret here. Not only are you an ABS business owner and you've had several clients you're kind of maintaining with a certain amount of business that you're comfortable with doing, but a few years ago, you joined the ABS support team. Kind of tell us what you're doing behind the scenes now with ABS.
Yeah, so about 4 years ago, I think it was 4 years ago, I had a call, and basically I was asked to come into the support department, and I was absolutely ready for that. I think Adam and the folks at ABS liked what I was doing with my business. I was growing it. I was involved with the day-to-day operations, so I wasn't out of touch with that at all. I had a pretty unique background in pharma sales and, again, master's in finance and that type of stuff. So they brought me in, and it's been great. And as you can tell, I'm of a certain age, so I don't need to. I did at one point have my business really, really big. I don't need to do that anymore. I just don't. How much do you need? I mean, so I'm at a point now where I really, really enjoy helping people get that first client, really help them, develop that client and develop other clients, and just be of help is what I'm saying. So that's what that's where I'm spending a lot of my time. I'm still definitely running my business. That's more time involved, but I'm contracting with ABS to help in the support department, and it's great. It's been really, really good.
And I want to kind of share with the group here. Now you can kind of go as far as you want to. We got a little bit of time left. We'll probably go about another ten minutes or so. And but you're kind of on the front end working with new business owners and kind of helping them strategize on a handful of providers that they could go after. You can kind of share a little bit of some strategies that you put together. I think there are some ebooks that have been put together to kind of help market to specific type of providers, and so kind of go through what you're doing and how you're helping people that are on the webinar today, that if they were to jump on board and they went through training, they're going to be talking with you. And how are you going to help them get their first client?
Yeah, for sure. So what you're referring to, Eric, is a webinar that we did. We mean Tim Warren and I did. It was earlier this year, probably about 6, 7 months ago or so, back in the spring. And I kind of, in talking with everyone and kind of based on my own experience, identified 4 specialties that are generally easier to approach. And what I mean by that is that I'll say it a different way. It's great to have a 9 or 10 person office. I've had them before. It's great.
Yeah.
Money's
Yeah.
really good. However, it's difficult sometimes to affect those types of offices. So let's say in an 8 or 9 provider office, you have a connection there, and you convince that person that you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. The problem is you got to convince not 8 other people that that's true of them.
Sure.
What I was trying to do with that webinar, what we try to do with that webinar, is identify some specialties where it's often a solo practitioner or maybe a very small office. So when you approach those offices, it can be the receptionist and the provider, and that's it. I mean, that's all there is. So,
Sure.
and specifically those types would be physical therapy, and by the way, I'm going to name 4 of them, but there's probably hundreds. I don't know how many. It's certainly many, many, many dozens, and if not several hundreds of types of practices that you can do work for. But the 4 that we identified in that webinar would be social workers, behavioral health. We put that as a separate one. So psychiatrists, psychologists, that type of thing. Physical therapy, which is probably one of my favorite specialties to work with, and then chiropractic, which is there's a lot of solo chiropractors, and really in all those specialties, it's not the case in every single office like this, but in many, many cases, it's just a solo practitioner hanging a shingle out and being in business there, and for that reason, they're out there slugging it out on the front lines, and
Yeah.
they the margin for error is really slim. And those are the types of offices that we can really, really help. We can bring a lot to the table, not only billing, but there's a lot of ancillary services that we can bring to them. So yeah, we did that, did the webinar. I've got, several behavioral health clients in particular. I've got a physical therapy client as well. Behavioral health is a great focus right now. There's a big emphasis on it nationwide. And it's not too terribly difficult to bill for. My impression is that it's a really tight-knit group. So they've got, I happened to sign a social worker at the start of last year. She ended up referring me to 4 other of her friends. So signed 5 social worker offices, or maybe a year and a half ago or so. So you can get into that type of a thing where you sign one and then you'll sign several as clients there. But yeah, that's all part of what we try to do and support. I mean, again, we're not going to do the work for you, but we can definitely help you identify opportunities, talk to you about how to approach these different offices, how to develop a marketing plan for these different offices, and again, hopefully help you to land that first client or 2.
Yeah. That's Jackie was just asking. I want to know, how is your marketing structure? So you've got a marketing plan that you kind of got specifically for those 4 specific practices or providers. Now, that doesn't mean that they could go after a family practice or anything else. It just means
Right.
that uh, for lack of a better terminology, is kind of low-hanging fruit out there. Uh,
Mhm.
it's some opportunities for you to get engaged. And, again, once you're involved with these types of folks, well, then they know doctors. And so
Oh yeah,
the,
absolutely.
the word starts to spread from there. So that is a really good opportunity.
You
Jackie,
know,
you're asking if we're familiar with BDR. I'm not sure. Have you ever heard of BDR?
I have
I
not.
don't,
No,
I don't, I
I'm
don't
sorry.
think we don't know that. All right. You were going to say something, Jeff?
Well, the one thing I was going to say, just to um, kind of connect those points there, and you actually kind of swerved to it a little bit earlier when you showed the ABS LSS site.
Yes. Yeah.
So for I don't, for the folks who are out there on today's meeting here, once you go through training and once you join ABS, go through training, all that, you have access to the ABS LSS site. It's a ABS licensee support site. There it is, right there. And this is definitely a continuation of training. You notice maybe the third one from the left, I think, is services and marketing and the like. It's somewhere in there. My eyesight's not very good there, but um, under the marketing section, you're going to see a great big laundry list of different ways to market your business there. It's the same stuff that's covered in training. It's just much more of a deep dive into it.
Yes.
Um, and so I mean, we help people all the time in support. We help people develop their marketing plans using, two or three or maybe four methods of the 15 or so that are on there. Um, Same thing with services. I mean, you can do a deep dive into services. There's a section in the resources section there that is for medical billing training.
Yeah.
Robin Warren, who's a member of the support team, did a really, really exceptional series of 4 webinars. So it's basically 4 hours of really high level training
Yeah.
on medical billing. And so I would have loved to have that when I first started, because I would have studied those 4 things and learned what I needed to know in order to feel confident in talking to people. But my point is that all of that is on the LSS there, and um, I guess my overall point is that once you finish training, you are definitely not alone. I mean, there's so many resources, whether it's this or support, the support team, or soon to be released this Friday. We're releasing a brand new knowledge base
I saw that.
page.
That
Wait till you see that.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Wait till you see how that works, Eric. It's really cool. I mean, it's
I got to I did a little peek preview last week whenever Adam sent it out to all of us, and I thought, man, what an incredible knowledge base site that is,
yep.
and pretty cool. And Jackie's kind of got a little bit of more of her question here, and you kind of answered it here, but she goes, "Is there an onboarding business coach who can support and guide and answer our questions if we have inquiries?" And absolutely, that's what Jeff and the team. There are how many uh, folks that are in support that can actually do a one-on-one call with brand new business owners.
Yeah, it depends on, well, again, I'm going to say it depends again, because it depends on what the topic of conversation is. And what I mean by that, there's 6 of us in the support group there. I would say a couple do mainly behind the scenes work. I'm thinking of Joanne and Zeke and maybe Rick to a degree as well.
Yeah,
But Tim or myself can certainly help with marketing. Tim Warren is excellent at what he
yeah,
does there, and then Robin is excellent at kind of the workflows of billing. Either Robin or myself can
yeah.
help with questions along those lines. So we're pretty versatile. We've got different strengths and different things that we're good at. So usually we can
Well,
help
Jeff,
people.
you and I are going to learn something that we already are. We are BDRs. I just learned that
Mm.
it's a business development representative.
Oh, okay. I'm a
So
BDR, I guess. I'll put that on
you're
my
a
card.
BDR. So there you go. We even learn on our own webinars.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Somebody put that up there. I appreciate that. We've got about 10 more minutes for the top of the hour. Why don't you just, because we talked a little about your history, your journey, now somewhat of what you do with support. You got any kind of like closing things you'd like to share with the folks here? We got a great audience. There's some other questions here. I'm going to try to uh, answer some
Yeah.
of these as we kind of start to wrap up here. But
Yeah.
any last minute words that you'd like to share with the group here?
Yeah, I would just encourage everyone to do your due diligence. Check, work with your rep. My rep, by the way, was Jason Pettit. I don't know if anyone out there is working with Jason, but he was around 8 years ago. He's still around. I've never met him ever, but he's it seems like a real nice guy. So anyway, do your due diligence. Talk to as many people as you need to in order to get a good, clear picture. Review some videos. I mean, I think if because I did that, I did a lot of due diligence. I called
Yeah.
half dozen people, and I think if you call six people, you're going to get six different ways that they built their business. You're going to hear six different ways. There's just so many ways to build the business. There is not a cookie cutter method for doing it. All of the methods for building the business are available to you through the methods that we talk support, ABS, LSS, etc. But I would encourage everyone just to do your due diligence. It'll become clear.
Yeah.
It'll become clear whether this is the right opportunity or not. It may not be, but just reach out. For me, it was a great opportunity. It's been much better than I thought it was going to be. And again, we talked about just the versatility, the flexibility. We're going to next week. My wife and I are a little personal thing. We're going to Hilton Head for a few days, and we do that often. And I'll when we go to Hilton Head, I'll bring my computer with me. I'll do a little bit of work. I'm not going to work all the time, but we'll be walking the beach there and eating lots of seafood. But I'll bring my computer because I can do that,
Sure.
and we'll do that and run my business from there for a couple of days. So anyway.
That's awesome. You're going to get out of that snowy area and go to
Oh
the beach.
man, I'll tell you what. Honestly, where I'm at, we get lake effect snow every single day. There's
Oh, goodness.
always 2 to 3 inches every single day until the water freezes over the big lake. I said big lake, Lake Michigan freezes over, and
Yeah.
then that turns off. But anyway, yeah, that's where we're at. Dude, I can't wait to get down
Here
there.
in Dallas, obviously we get maybe one snow every winter, and we're always loving it. And we go, and everybody here in Texas just kind of freezes up, and nobody goes anywhere and does
That's
anything.
funny.
But it's kind of fun to have that.
That's
Well,
great.
Jeff, thank you. Hopefully, these people will reach out. Now, you are part of the uh, uh, some of the business owners that some of these people can talk to outside of this. Am I correct? You're on that
I
list of,
believe so. Yep, I think I'm on the list there. You'll see. I believe they know more than I do about this, but I think folks get it from your rep that you're working with, and
yeah,
then you can call whoever you want. And yeah, just give me a call if anyone wants to talk. I'd be happy to
yeah.
talk with you.
Well, Jeff, it's been a pleasure to get caught up with you again. And I know that you
Thanks,
you
sir.
put in so much of yourself into getting your own business going. But one of the things we kind of started talking a little bit about Patrick Phillips, we lost Patrick a little over a year ago. And one of the great things I think you and I and the rest of the team always have learned from working with Patrick is always paying it forward. And
Yes.
so not only did you come into the business, you learned how to do the business, you built your business up to where it was really strong. But now you've flipped it. You're helping people like they're on the webinar today who are asking questions, and
Mhm.
once they get started, you're there to help them get their business started with new clients and potential new clients of just things like that. So you're really living the ABS model of everything. Get in, get involved, get your business going, and then turn around and help others. That's the way this whole business has always been.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's accurate, and I think that's even within the licensees. There's a licensee Facebook group, and without
Yes.
I won't get down this path too far here, but a Facebook group that once you're on board with ABS, you can join that group, and it's like a family, really. I mean, you can ask questions, you can get good information from folks there. So yeah, it really is. It's been a great opportunity for me. I wish I would have done it a long time ago, seriously. Um, uh, but it's worked out really well.
That's awesome. All right. Well, listen, enjoy your time in Hilton Head with your wife. Enjoy that time whenever you get to
Thanks.
get some seafood and do a little bit of your billing while you're there. But Jeff, thanks again. You're such a joy to talk with and an interview, and hopefully some of these people will reach out to you. So thank you so much. And
Okay.
if I don't talk
Thanks.
with you before the end of the year, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. And you as well, Eric. Thanks,
All
everyone.
right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Take
it.
care.